everyone. Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm going to try and wave back as quickly as possible. Okay, let me pin today's topic, which is the impact of having a complete package. Different shades of Debbie. Yes, Doreen. So I'm just pinning today's topic, which is the impact of having a complete package as a woman, with Jane. Okay. I see Jane is already on here as well. We're already 4 minutes into it. Sorry, I was having a bit of connectivity issues. Okay, so I'm gonna go right into it because we're already 5 minutes late. Well, 4 minutes late. So I'm adding Jane now. Hi, Gigi the Goddess. Hi, Jane.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm loving your blue hair.
I was like, how about I go blue today? Yeah? How about I go blue today? Yesterday
Maybe I was expecting pink or purple, but you showed up in blue. That's fine.
I was blonde yesterday, and no, Saturday I had my cornrows in, my wig cornrows in, and then I was blonde yesterday. Friday I was blonde, and I think Thursday I was black. Life is too short. Okay, we need to wear different colors of hair.
I love that. Express yourself. If you choose to use your hair, please go ahead.
Yeah, it depends
Express
on the
yourself.
mood. Depends on the mood or which side of the bed I wake up on.
I do that with my shoes, though. So my shoes are where I go all out. I could wear any color when it comes to shoes.
I'm a shoe person, but I hardly go out, so I hardly even wear my shoes. So I think
know.
we'll do with the hair. Anyway, Jane, thanks so much for granting me the opportunity to speak to you today. I'm very honored. Thank you very much. Before I let you tell us about yourself, guys, so please meet Jane. Jane and I used to work. Well, I think Jane came soon after I left Ericsson. So
Yes,
yes, I think, yeah. And you were on the MTN account, and I was working with the
exactly.
country manager. Yes. So I've had my fair share of telecom industry as well. I did it for 2 years. And Jane, please, guys, Jane is a big boss lady.
So I've had my fair share of telecom industry as well. I did it for 2 years.
Jane, I
And
can hear myself.
Jane,
So I don't
please,
know
guys,
what's
Jane is
happening.
a big teacher. Yes. So I've had my fair share of telecom industry. Can you hear me?
Now, yes, now I can. I could hear myself replay, but now I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just telling them that I've also had my fair share of telecom industry. I was there for 2 years, and soon after I left, you came. But you are like big boss,
Ah,
big
you are
boss.
not the big boss now.
MTN
You are
account
now controlling
manager.
your own time, your money, everything.
And Jane moved back to Nigeria. So Jane, I'll let you tell my audience. Tell us a little about yourself. Who is Jane? What does Jane do?
So for those of you that don't know me, I am Jane. I am the passionate, curious woman that wants to change her world. But definitely I've been in the telecom sector, in the tech sector for almost 2 decades. And like Debbie said, I spent about 4 years of that living in Ghana, where I was managing a team for Ericsson. So I've been in this techie, male-dominated world for about 2 decades. I have 2 wonderful kids. They inspire me and they make me more curious. I have an interesting husband that's the opposite personality of who I am. But I think those are all the things that make me think. And I'm just a very curious person that is always interested to learn something new. And I think that's what I like about what we have in common. Debbie, there's so much to learn from you. You're always trying something new.
I like the word trying something new. It's otherwise life would be so boring and so,
Yes.
you know, you always have to
But
try.
the reality that it takes a lot of courage to do that. You know, a lot of us will try things that are new in our head. We think about it, we plan about it, but we never really do it. And people do admire people that have the guts because it takes a lot of courage to actually do it. Because it might look stupid initially, it might look silly, it might look unimportant, but sometimes only time tells. And that's why the ones that are courageous enough to attempt it are the ones that make it.
Courage. It all boils down to courage. Courage and clearly taking risks, big risks.
The ability to take risks, even when you don't know, like I said, you don't necessarily have to know the outcome. You know, I'll give you an example. When I remember when you started doing the impact, I was like, wow, this is so amazing. Because think about it, it was a time, you know, in the middle of the COVID, everybody was scared. People were not sure what was happening. People were losing jobs. Others were just confused about what will happen next. And I know some sectors were, you know, all over the news, they said entertainment sector was down, you know, airline, you know, there's some sectors that's been really hard hit. But what I loved about what you did, you just took it on a different direction. You created a platform where people could be inspired and motivated. And I'm sure someone would ask, you know, what has it got to do with what she does? What has it got to do with
Yeah.
events or any of those things you're passionate about? But that's why it takes courage to do it, because if you believe in it, initially not everybody will believe with you. You know, not everybody sees it with you, or not everybody understands it. So even when you try to explain it, not everybody will get it. Your ability to continue until people start to get it, that's a lot of courage. That's a lot of courage.
Wow. You know, yesterday I asked myself, how long am I going to be able to do this for? I asked myself that question when I was doing the lineup for next week and the week after. And so I have 3 more sessions before the season is over. And I was asking myself, how long more am I going to be able to do this for? Then, one, I remembered Pastor Kenny saying to me that you're going to get to a point where you think, this is hard. Maybe I need to give up. I shouldn't give up. Then also remembered a friend who sent me a message and said she was really proud of me because when COVID was announced, everybody was on live. Everybody was doing one
Yes.
live or another. But then where are they now? They've all dropped off. But I've been consistent and it's like I have it all mapped out. And I remembered her saying that and I thought, you know what? If somebody else outside has noticed that I've been consistent, um, I'm still pushing regardless, then maybe I shouldn't give up. Maybe I shouldn't give up. But
Let me
yesterday,
give you a reason why you shouldn't give up. So this is my reason why you shouldn't give up. I read a lot of the comments your viewers post. You know, when you're done with the session, those are the comments that get to me. And I see some of the comments. I remember someone really posted, there's a session you did about losing your mom or something.
yeah.
And the lady was reaching out and telling you that she would like to chat with you. She wants to share her story, that what you've said has so touched her. That is the reason you shouldn't give up. There are things that people are going through. Look at Chadwick that died. Nobody knew that guy had cancer for 4 years. And he was being a hero to all of us while he needed a hero himself to survive what he was going through. But you don't know where he gets his inspiration. Maybe a platform like this, he goes and gets inspired and gets the energy to continue. So for me, once you're positively impacting people, that is priceless. You couldn't ask for more. Once there is impact, that is the reason you should go on. because you're doing it and it's not more than you. It's just not you. It's the fact that people come here on a Monday to find inspiration, to get motivation, to hear something that will be different, that will touch their life, to feel connected, to feel like a human being and miss everything that is happening. The fact that a lot of people are isolated, they can't travel, they can't be with family, it's things like this that will connect us. So yes, that is my reason, if you
Wow.
ask me.
Okay. I've got yes, Prince. I've gotten the pump I need to carry on. So I guess they'll be seeing me for a while. Thank you.
Yes.
Jane. I wrote this down though. Every hero needs their own hero to keep going. It's true. That death, I mean, I remember a few months ago I saw a picture of him looking very sick. And a friend of mine sent it to me and goes, "Do you think he's on drugs? Why is he looking like that?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, sometimes when the money and the fame gets to their head, maybe they go on drugs, maybe he's found another source of comfort, maybe he's rather lonely. Never did I even think he was sick for a
All
minute.
kinds of reasons, isn't it? Than
Yeah,
the obvious.
than the obvious. And yes, yeah, I mean, when he died, I felt really bad. I was like, why are we human beings like this? I mean, why? Why are we like this? Why do we always want to find a reason behind everything that is happening to somebody else? Why couldn't I just look at that picture and be like, oh well, and move on?
I think that's why it's a reminder to us that we shouldn't be too quick to judge. If you see something you don't understand, don't be too quick. Because remember that your frame of reference is based on what you know. Because normally when you see people, it's either they are on drug, if they're in that kind of situation, they are broke, on drugs, they're this, but it might not be. So even when we see people, sometimes we don't understand people. We see people on social media, we see people behave in a certain way. Maybe it's just a reminder we shouldn't be too quick to judge. We shouldn't think that, oh, this must be the reason why that person is that way. They're just lazy, or they're just you just have your reasons why you think that person is that, especially if you don't know them. Maybe when you get to know them, it will be an entirely different reason. I'll give you an example. So there's one of the jobs, I just moved jobs then. I got into this job, and I thought I was doing so well. My bosses were happy. Then I had to work with this guy. He wasn't based there. He was based somewhere in the Middle East. But he was giving me so much tough time. I felt he was reading meaning into everything. Even when I invited him to come to Nigeria, I thought, okay, maybe when we meet ourselves, we'll work better. Like he would just send these emails that, those emails you see on a Saturday morning, you want to start a war. You'd be like, how dare you mail me and say these things in the email? So I remember that weekend, I was so happy and so, so upset. I made up my mind that on Monday morning, I was going to call him and give him a piece of my mind. Then on Monday morning, somebody called me and showed me an email. This guy apparently had relapsed. He had cancer. And a lot of people knew because I just came into the organization. I didn't. He had cancer. He treated it, went, but he came back again and now he was aggressive and he was terminal. So he had a couple of days to live. So he was mailing colleagues to say he might not make it back and all that. Did I almost cried? Because I knew that maybe it was only on that job he felt alive. Those emails he was sending me, not just because he was going through chemo and he was going through a tough time. Maybe this was the place where he felt he was in control and nobody was judging him for being sick or having cancer. Nobody was pitying him. And he could be whatever he wanted to be. So he would throw out all his passion. He didn't survive, he died, but it taught me a lesson, just like Chadwick. Don't be too much in a hurry to judge people. Don't just feel like, she's lazy. She thinks she's beautiful. She thinks she's smart. She's just rich and spoiled. Don't be too much in a hurry. If you don't know people that well, don't be too quick to judge them.
Wow, let me write this nugget down. Don't be too quick to judge people you don't know. That is heartbreaking. That is heartbreaking.
Someone is hailing your makeup and hair. Instead, your makeup
You know
and hair,
what? I'm,
Charlie,
I'm seeing
is
his
like,
comment and I'm just ignoring him. That is why Chuck the planner, who comes on here just to distract me. Nothing else. Nothing else. He's just here to distract me. So I've decided to tell you that
Why
just before.
chalk the plan?
First of all, he thinks I'm a pastor. He's always calling me a pastor, telling people I'm a pastor. Now, you know, yesterday was Jocelyn's birthday party. So somebody
Yeah.
posted a video of me dancing on my story. So he's making a comment, you go chill, come. So he's laughing at me saying that I'm going to dance and now I'm here sitting here looking like a pastor. I'm so ignoring him. And he's talking about my hair and makeup. I'm just gonna ignore him. Brian.
I don't think he's giving up anyway. He says you should stop judging him. So like
Yeah.
we'll try not to judge them today.
And then other people made some comment. Let me quickly read it before we move. We go on. Let's see. I'm scrolling. Well, somebody says it's just curiosity. That they're referring to when I saw the picture and I thought he was on drugs. It's just it's just curiosity. I don't think it's bad. It's human nature. We just want to know, so it's natural to conclude. My friend Abra in Canada says, I thought he was losing weight for a role. Actually, yeah, Justin also thought he was losing weight for a role. And somebody said, we shouldn't be quick to judge. Then Brian's comments. Brian thinks I'm looking very good. Thank you, Brian. Oh, God. Anyway, moving on. So, Jane, tell the audience, what do you actually do?
So I currently on my tech side, so I manage the operations for a satellite company. You know, one of those companies that have a satellite in space for connection to provide internet for everyone. So I manage the operations for West Africa. My company has a fleet of satellites in space. We provide connectivity all around the world, but for the ones we connect in Africa, I manage our West African operations. But I have a lot of things I'm passionate about, and one of them is women. So I have a nonprofit called Women and Career. And basically what we do is encourage women to grow their careers, or young women to start one, young girls to start one. So that's a nonprofit I am so passionate about. I have a book. I have so many sites. I have a book that I published earlier in the year, which talks about my career journey and challenges people to do the same or do better, because that's what I want to see. I want to see people doing much, much better than what the cards they've been dealt, you know, to do better than that.
Okay,
So those are the things I do.
before I move to the book and women and career. Now, when you are talking about being in the tech space, managing satellite operations in West Africa, and I'm just thinking, wow, you know, look at this gorgeous woman in this tech space. That's, if anybody said they worked in a tech space managing satellite operations, you think it's a guy that was doing that. So
Exactly.
yeah. So how intimidating has it been working with men? Because I know this is a male-dominated space. So how intimidating has it been working with men and working your way up the career ladder too? I know in Ghana you were manager for the MTN account, and then you went to country manager in Nigeria for Avanti. So I mean, you have worked with men most of your career. How intimidating have you found it?
So I would say my personal experience in the early days, I don't think it was noticeable. You know, it wasn't like in my younger career days. It was just like, you know, you have classmates in class. So even though there were fewer women, so when I studied engineering in my class of 100, there were only 10 of us that were women. But it wasn't like a thing. I think it became a thing for me when I started climbing the ladder. I started noticing there were very few women. And you start being judged in a very funny way. You know, people were like, but she's going to get married now. No, she doesn't need this. Or, oh, no, you already have kids and a husband. Or people actually make comments and say, oh, you're just like my wife at home. And I'm like, no way. I'm your boss. I'm not your wife at home. That's the difference. Because it's almost like they're trying to belittle who you are to them. Or sometimes even clients, you know, you take them out for dinner and some of them, first of all, don't want to go because you're a woman. So I won't mention any name. I remember when I got a job for the first 1 year, None of my clients will want to go out, even for coffee, because they're looking at this young, attractive woman that just keeps asking them, let's go for coffee. And maybe they're reading other meanings to it.
You
And
are
I'm like,
hitting on your
I'm sure if it
guys.
was a guy, you wouldn't be reading any meaning to it.
Yeah.
So, especially one of them. So I think it's when one of them finally gave in and had coffee with me, and we really spoke at length. I guess it convinced his other friends. So I had to change my strategy. So next time I was like, okay, let me come to your house. Is your wife cooking? I love Indian food. Let's eat. Are you people celebrating Diwali? Let's come to your place and enjoy, So you have to allow them see that, those perceptions are not really what they are. But it's not all the time, Sometimes I go to a restaurant, I take my team to a restaurant, and I'm like the one that is not served. Like I'm begging for attention. The waiter ignores me and serves everybody because either they look Caucasian, they are male, and based on the restaurant's profile, she's not the boss, so she shouldn't be the one paying. Let me give attention to those guys. They're going to tip me. And at the end of the day, I'm the one tipping and I'm the one paying. So even the waiter himself is now shocked. So you get those ones, but those ones I ignore. Those ones don't really, they're not a big issue for me. The bigger issue for me are the ones that are really tied to you progressing in your career. Those ones I fight because those ones should not be. Not because you of your gender, people should stop you. So in a way, it's taught me there's some good parts. You tend to think like guys in a way. Take away all the frivolities and you go analytical and logical in the way you approach things. So even in the way you would approach even managing life, some things like women tend to worry about every tiny things. The guy will compartment, he put things in compartments, and the things that are priority he worry over. The things that are not priority he just ignore. So you could walk into this guy's house, it is scattered in a mess. Doesn't mean he cannot tidy it up, but it wasn't a priority for him. And maybe his car is priority. The car will be clean, spick and span, the latest Mercedes and all that. So you learn to use that as a coping mechanism. So I think I took that trait, which has helped. So even in my life, there's some things I don't feel bad if I show up in this kind of like, oh, today is green day. Why is your son not wearing green? He should have been wearing green. Oh, what were you doing? Did you forget? You didn't read the email. I thought the mothers were meant to read the, they go on and on. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, sorry, I was awake all night working on a big project. I didn't read the email. I don't know about Green Day. He's going to wear his uniform. So you learn to just use that to say, okay, this is more important, focus on it. This one is okay. It could be important to other people, but it's not important to us, to me, to my son, or to people that are important to me. So those are some of the things I love, that the fact that you can think that way and use it to address life. And yeah, so those are the good parts of it. Of course, the other good part is the fact that you don't want people to uh, put you in a box because of your gender, especially when it comes to your career. And nobody wants to hear that, oh, this thing is just for men, or this thing just for women, or because you're a woman, sorry, we don't think, oh, you show up in a meeting and, people don't take you serious because they feel like, oh, it shouldn't have been her. We're expecting somebody else. So you're talking and nobody's taking you serious. You don't want that. That's not what you want. Yeah.
Don't be boxed because of your gender. Ladies, have you heard? Don't be boxed because of it. Even men, like White Chalk the planner, who is an event planner in a female-dominated space. Even he is not boxed based on his gender. Now let me move on to your book. Tell us about your book and why you wrote that book.
My amazing project. Everyone keeps asking how to do to get the time to write the book. So, like I always said, I wasn't really a writer. I was more like a reader. I love to read, so I read a lot of books. But I had this coach that kept telling me, "Oh, you had all this wonderful experience. Why don't you write it and share it with other people?" I wasn't really keen because I felt I didn't have enough time. I was busy, family, traveling, work. I didn't have enough time, so it never really stuck to me. But I was really passionate about my daughter. I was going through this phase where I was trying to figure out how to work best, with my daughter. She was young at that time. And there was this particular, aha moment. I was like, see, I'm mentoring all these younger people, because mentoring people a lot on the job, young women, young men. And I really wish I could put those experiences together for her, because I'm like, when I'm older, will I be able to really explain to her, all the things I did and how I did it and why I did it and how she could learn from it? I think that's where the connection came. And that's when I gave it a go. So one of those long leave days, I was doing nothing. I'm like, you know what? Let's write it. I wrote the first one. Joanna, my good friend, I'm always very, very grateful. She edited that first work. I remember when I posted it, how he was like really skeptical. Should we post it? Shouldn't we post it? So we posted it on LinkedIn. And I kind of tried to get away, forget about it. I think she called me the next day. She's like, Jane, did you check out that article? Over 100 views already. Go and check out the comment section. Like she was like raving. I'm like, does that mean anything? Yes, it means people are reading the article. People are commenting. And I think that's how we started. Those comments for me were like good feedback. I was now engaging with people on the comment section. So, you feel kind of motivated to keep doing that. And that's how we formed the book. So those series of articles started becoming the bedrock for the book. So once I decided to make it into a book, that's how we started crafting out the book. So yeah, that's how the book came about.
So what kind of reviews have you been getting about your book?
Oh, I've been, the best things I've gotten, it's not even the book, because I keep telling you, I don't think you can be a millionaire trying to sell this book, especially when you're self-published. But I think the most amazing things I've gotten from the book is the feedback, the fact that I challenged someone or I motivated someone during the book. I remember some guy reading the book. I didn't even know him from out of the blue. He started sending me messages on LinkedIn that he's reading this book because of his daughter, that he wants to say thank you. There's so many things he's gotten from the book. A lady in Canada sent me a note that, the son wants to send me a voice note because they read parts of the book together and he was so touched. Or some lady in India that sent me something on Facebook that she had bought the book because of some podcast I did. And she was also some lady in India that had gone through tough times, coming from the slums. And that reading my book, she was in college, had really motivated her to make her feel like she can still do it. It's not yet over. Those are the things that get to me. The fact that people read this book and they find something in it that is helpful to them. That's the best feedback I've gotten. Those are the best. They make my day.
I'm yet to get my book. I don't want a soft copy. I want
very soon. Hopefully, now that the borders are opening.
Autograph.
Autograph, especially. You're definitely getting your book. So you have to. We should have done that since, if not for coronavirus. And coronavirus in a way has been a blessing in disguise. Initially, it was a bit tough because I had so many things I wanted to do with the book. I was meant to go on a tour to schools in Ghana, schools in Nigeria, and we'd already booked some of those sessions, you're aware. But, the coronavirus, nobody could travel, nothing, was a lockdown. So the first 2 months, I was a bit concerned. I wasn't too sure what direction to head to until somebody, mentioned, why don't you do online things and do podcasts and webinars? And I think that was the best advice, because the book has gotten to parts of the world I never thought I would take that book to. In my mind, when I wrote the book, I was like, okay, Nigeria and Ghana, those are places I've lived. I will make sure that the book is available there and people will read it. Now, I have people ordering the books from the US and Canada and India, all kinds of places. And I feel really blessed because I thought this is the best thing I think I could have. The best thing is that the fact that you can share your learnings and use that to help somebody else. Because it's one thing to experience something and don't even understand why you experienced it. It's another thing that experience is valuable to someone and you can share it with them and they can use it. That for me has been an honor to share that, irrespective of their country or their culture, they still can connect with it. A lady sent me a note on LinkedIn. Yesterday. Was it yesterday, Sunday? I was reading on Sunday. She told me she heard about the book. She recommended it to her book club. By the way, she's based in the US. And they wanted to read it as the book for the month, next month.
Oh, that's good.
I was shocked. I don't even know her. So I told her, you know what? If you read it as a book for the book next month, one of the sessions, invite me and you can ask me any questions about the book. Tell your book club. She was so happy.
Yeah, that's
I'm like,
nice.
wow, amazing.
That's nice. Renee is saying she also wants a copy of the book. Yes, Renee, as soon as I get my hands on it, you will get yours as well.
Oh no, I can't wait. I have them here. I'm just waiting. I actually should have sent them over, but the borders were not officially open, so it was difficult sending parcels.
Okay, tell my audience, well, our audience, the name of the book.
Oh yeah, the name of the book is Be Fearless. Let me see. Yes. I always have one here. So that's the book. You probably cannot see the. So the book is titled Be Fearless. Give yourself permission to be you. And most times when I say be fearless, people are like thinking, oh, I'm saying don't be scared or whatever. No, no, no. I'm saying be courageous. It's not the absence of fear, it's the ability to move, act even in the midst of fear. Most of the big crazy things we do them scared, we do them afraid, we do them confused, we do them not certain. But what's important is that we started and we did them. And as we start to do them, we become more confident. I think that's what's more important. So, and I share a lot of those stories in the book because most of those things I did, people shouldn't think that I was, because I was in a session with a couple of young women and we were chatting. And they were like, oh, I really admire you. I wish I can be this confident and assertive. And, I wish I had that. Did you have all this growing up? I'm like, no. As a young girl, I was the scared, shy, introverted type. So none of these things. But it just means that you can learn it. It doesn't mean that because you're born that way, you cannot change. So I didn't even have the guts to do half of the crazy things I do now. But once you do one little act, you become a bit more confident. Next time you have the guts to try something bigger. So I'll give you an example. Like one of the experiences I share in the book. One of the big aha moments was as a young teenager. I had finished secondary school. It was time to go to university. I was fortunate to be in a boarding school. In a boarding school, you're shielded. You're just in a boarding school with people from middle class. I was coming from a very poor background. So, I was listening to them, learning from them. Their parents were doctors or lawyers or nurses. So I said, I want to be an engineer too. But when I would go back home to my little slum, people will be like, why do you want to do engineering? It's for men, it's hard, it's difficult. Do something easy. Come out of school and come and help your parents and your family. And do you know what? Under the pressure of that negative talk, do you know that's how I talked myself out of engineering? Because I'm like, maybe they are right. Maybe I'm feeling too confident. Why should I put engineering? Do you know I changed that? When the results came out, I went to the school I chose. Of course, my name was on the board as I got admission, but I was just curious. I said, oh, let me just check on the engineering list. If I had chosen engineering, where would I be? Do you know, I checked. If I had chosen engineering, I still would have made top 10 of the list. This is probably a list of about 400 students. I still would have been top 10. That was the first lesson I learned as a young adult. I told myself, no way. Why did I change it? Why did I listen to all these people? Why didn't I just believe that I could do it? I spent a whole 1 year trying to change my course back to engineering. I was going to the lecturers, asking everybody, how can I change? I want to change. I'm miserable. I don't like this course. I was able to change, but I was very grateful for that life lesson because now, even as an adult, that is one thing I've learned, to protect my dreams, my aspiration. Because sometimes to the people around me, it will sound very crazy. It will sound too risky. But it's because I take those risks. That's why I'm here today. If I never took those risks. So that was the first one I did. Got a bit more confident. So next time when I came out and I said I wanted to do this, everybody said, crazy. I said, okay, it's okay. I understand it's crazy, but I still got to do the crazy. So I did the crazy and the crazy worked. So each time the crazy works. So sometimes it doesn't work, but when you get them working, it just pushes you forward. You become more confident. So you have the guts to go for another bigger one. So I tell people, be fearless is to act even when you're scared. Try, do it.
Christine says she also wants a copy of the book. So we're already, I'm going to put together my order list
Oh, yes. Your orders are coming very soon.
I love this
I've
nugget.
already started talking to there's a bookstore I'm talking to in Ghana. Can't remember the name, ETH or
No,
EPH. I'll check the name.
is it EPS?
EPS, I think. So we're meant to actually have some delivered there. So definitely we're making plans, girl. We're making plans.
That's good. So this nugget, I think it applies to me. That's why I wrote it down. Well, I wrote the other ones that I wrote down: protect your dreams and inspirations, believe that you can, be fearless, give yourself permission to be you. Um, but this one, I love it. Just do your crazy. Your crazy may work. Now I love that one. That applies to me. Just be crazy. It might just work. You never know. My crazy might work for me. Renee, have you heard my crazy might work? I bet people look at
Yeah,
me like this
it
woman.
might work. And when it works, you know what happens? Years later, some of those my uncles that were trying to talk me out of engineering, those are the same uncles that are sending their kids to me that I should try and encourage them to study engineering. I should speak to them. I should, mentor them. So, when crazy works now, it's no longer crazy. People now want you to,
Exactly.
everybody
Guys,
wants to join
my
you.
crazy might work and you might be inspired. My friend IJ says, will the book be available in the UK?
Oh, yes, it's on Amazon actually. So the book is on Amazon, so you can order it. Amazon, any of the Amazons, UK, Canada, Ireland, all the Amazons is there. And the reason why we're trying to get it to Ghana is that sometimes when people order from West Africa, it's difficult for Amazon to get it down. It takes a longer time. So we wanted to just have them in some of the local bookstores so people can locally also get them faster.
Okay. So IJ, Amazon it is. Now, after the book, let me ask you, how long ago did you start Career in Women, your charity?
We went to Korea not too long ago. It's one of those my crazes as well. It's just officially it started 2017. But like I said, I've always loved, supporting, mentoring women because people will come to me. They wanted to know, oh, how did you get the job promotion? Or how did you get to where you are? How did you manage your career? Like you have all these young women coming to you. But then in my organization, which was Ericsson, a lot of these women were coming. They wanted to be mentored because of my challenging job. I was trying to manage it. So I got to a point I said, okay, you know what? I'll just put you guys in a group. I'll show you what I do because it might be easier just to show you what I do. And I'm sure if you can do those things as well, you can get better. So one of the things I normally do when I find interesting people that have an interesting story, I think I can learn from, I admire, I approach them, I chat with them, I want to have coffee with them. I want to just learn from them, see their experience, how did they do it, what could they have done better, what could they change, what do they like about what, you just want to be curious and you want to learn. And that's how you get better. So I used to do this. I would invite interesting people to come and talk to these women. And of course, it got to a time I was leaving the company and I was nicely telling them that I wouldn't be available for the next session. Nobody understood what I was saying, just like we were saying. People just read it differently. I said, okay, I will be gone for a long time. They said not to worry, they will wait. And I'm like, I might not be around for like forever in this company because they're already gone ahead and even booked a meeting. Because at that time, we were now having very large sessions with about 300 people. People were dialing from different countries, India, Pakistan, US, Mexico. It was everywhere, Dubai, Senegal. So it was a bit now tricky. I had to just come clean and tell them I'm leaving the company. I won't be available. That's why I thought, I'm going to hand over the sessions to HR. They'll manage it. And they're like, no, 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 no. Do it anyhow you do it. Do it online, social media, whatever. We will be there. And that's how it officially started. So it's one of those crazes that I did scared as well because I'm like, do I have time for this? Like I should be focusing on my job. Why am I now, because people start wondering, are you now into this? Is this what you do? I'm
Yeah,
like, no, I'm just doing it because I think people need it. And
yeah.
I want to help people. But if you ask me about the time, the energy, the resources, it's costing me a lot. But I think people are benefiting from it. And that's why I do it.
That's the same thing I get. Like, are you not doing events anymore? I see that you're always running around with zero hunger. And I'm like,
Is this your new thing? Are
yes,
you
this is
now
the
an
thing.
activist? Oh, you're
Yeah,
now a feminist. Which one are you now?
I get that all the time. I just don't even I don't let it get to me, because once you start letting people's comments and questions get to you, you lose focus on what you're trying to do. So I just don't bother anymore.
Exactly.
Renee has gone to check out reviews on your book on Amazon US, and she's come back and said, great reviews on Amazon US. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Renee. Renee is a special friend. You know, she's my good friend all the way from Ghana.
Oh,
Lots
you
of
know,
love, Renee.
yeah, she was my classmate in secondary school.
Oh, that's so sweet. I can't even remember how we met. I think we're either introduced by Phyllis or someone.
Ah, okay, Phyllis. Yeah. Okay, so I've asked the question about how you started Women in Career, and then how I know even I have been on some of your interviews for Women in Career as well, because it's still on YouTube. The other day I was watching, I'm like, I hate watching myself. That's another thing. I just hate watching myself. Also, I just hate watching myself. I was like, what was I doing? Anyway, so now how do you combine your various roles? Engineering, women in career, promoting your book, because I know promoting your book, it's a lot of work. Promoting your book, and then being mommy to these two kids. Oh, and also being a wife.
So I'll tell you guys the real story, not the theoretical story. The real answer that it's a difficult thing. It is. You know, sometimes people ask, how do you balance? I'm like, there's no balance. I don't see any balance. The truth is that I've just determined that these ones are priority. Don't get your eyes off those ones, no matter what. It doesn't mean that sometimes they don't sleep, but it means that I keep paying attention to make sure they don't sleep. My spiritual life, my family, my career. You know, there's some I have put up there. I'm like, you know what? Those ones shouldn't sleep. But sometimes they sleep. But because I paid attention or their priority, if they sleep, I start to intervene. So there'll be times where I'm traveling too much on the job. I don't have time for my kids. I would love to have better time because their homeworks are not being done. You know, some things are not as they should be because I'm not there. So I start making plans to make sure I spend more time at home. You know how it is. When I'm at home now, I'm like every ballet, every football, any activity, I'm there. Like I'm all over the place for them because I have decided that that was the priority and it was sleeping. And I share that in my book as well. You know, one of the big experiences I had with my daughter was the fact that there was a time I was traveling a lot. She was much younger. And I just felt we were growing apart. You know how you come back from a trip, your daughter will just say, hi, mom, and she just goes with the nanny and they both disappear. They go to the nanny's room. And I'm like, is that all? You wouldn't even hug me. You're not happy to see me. She's like, I'm happy. Bye. You know, she and the nanny always hanging out. You know, even at night, you put her to bed. Bye, bye, bye. Good night. Whatever you pray, you read a book together. As soon as I go to my room, give her like 30 minutes. You hear her footstep. Pa, 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 pa. She's headed to the nanny's room. The nanny's room didn't even have a big bed. It didn't have an AC. All the wonderful things I have in my room, they don't have it. But she still chose the nanny because the nanny gave her time. And it was a big issue for me and that's what happens when it's a priority. You start to think about how do I solve it. So one of the solutions I thought I came up with was to sack the nanny. So I was talking to a senior friend. So I was telling her that, you know what, this nanny doesn't take it serious. I've been telling her, if she comes to your room, send her back to my room or to her room. She's not allowed to sleep with you. She should spend more time with mommy. And the lady was laughing like, Jane, I've been there. It won't solve it. You just keep sacking your nannies. That is not the solution to the problem. The solution is just the way you treat your customers. You work on your relationship with your daughter until your daughter starts to choose you over the nanny. It was a painful answer. It wasn't the answer that I wanted. I preferred the sack the nanny one. That was the easier answer. So So I had to, I had to like take her answer for what it is. And I went with my tails between my legs. But I started working on it. All those things she told me. I didn't know how to make it, but I started making my daughter's hair. So you notice her hair is always in ponytails because that's all I could do. I used to work Monday to Friday. Saturdays are weekends. I love to rest. But this time I decided no resting. I would have cycled in the morning, no cycling. I'd rather take my daughter to ballet. By the way, half the time in ballet, I'm sleeping because I'm really tired. But it's just important that I was there.
You're
It
the one
was
who
so
took it.
important. In the evening, she wants to go swimming. I take her. I worked on that relationship like you were working on a client. Every time I'm checking, okay, maybe I should try this. This one isn't working. She hasn't started saying much. Okay, should we wait together? I just talked to her. I'm like, what do you want us to do? She says she wants to play with dolls. I say, I'm tired. I just came back to work from work, but no problem. We'll play with dolls. Bring out all the dolls. Let's start playing. I was just doing all that. And the moment I knew that, yes, it's working, it was about 9 months later. One of those days, she wakes up because she had a nightmare. So the normal routine is that she'll run down the hallway to the nanny's room, knock on the door and go and cling with the nanny. But she walked to my room, which was next door, slipped into my blanket and started clinging to me. Oh, that day I almost cried.
Oh,
I'm like, yes, yes, this is what I wanted. I
it
just
has
wanted her
paid
to
off.
choose me. That's it.
Oh,
So in terms of managing it, that's how I manage it. So if something is slipping, I start giving it attention. So the things that are priority for me, the things that are not priority, I outsource them, like the cleaning, the washing. If it's not priority, we figure out if someone can do it. Can we pay the person? Is there any way I can get support? But if it's priority, I put my eyes on it and try to figure it out.
wow. Let me write this nugget down. When something is slipping, pay attention to it. Keep your eyes on your priorities. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, you're right. And I say that because remember that everybody's priorities are different. If I was single, probably I wouldn't have kids. My priorities would be different. Now I have kids. So everybody's priorities are different. So don't be too quick to take on people's priorities. You really have to ask yourself, what's your own priority? What's important to you? What are the things that are really making you happy, make you think? Those are the things I think you should focus on. And if something is not a priority, maybe to other people it's priority, but it's not to you. Be true to yourself. You don't have to wash your clothes if it's not a priority. If you think you can outsource it, pay someone to do it, and you rather want to spend that time learning how to dance, learning how to get a new skill, if that's what's more important to you, then I think you should do it. Just because everybody said, somebody washes your clothes, you're lazy. You don't have to join them. That's them. You're different.
Yeah. Yeah. So right now you're a book writer, you're a mommy, you're a wife, you're an engineer, and then you are uh, for the charity. You're a mentor. Now,
Yes.
what is your preferred role in all of this? And do you rank anyone higher than the other?
I wouldn't say I have the ones I rank higher. So, of course, the family one, the motherhood one, is really important to me. The spirituality is important to me. But I wouldn't say I have a preferred role because they're all interconnected if you understand your core. Because of my Christian values, my deepest desire is to help others. So that's why I mentor. People are shocked. They send me messages and I respond on DMs and LinkedIn. I respond because I feel it's my duty to listen. If I can help you, help you. And it's important. You understand? But of course, in terms of, the roles, I would say my role as a wife, as a mother, my career, those roles are important to me. But of course, I'm also passionate about helping other people. So those three priorities will always be there. But the other ones, those are the things that also define Jane. Those are the things that also make me happy. So I cannot imagine myself living in a world where I can't do that. I wouldn't be fulfilled. I wouldn't feel happy. If I feel I could have been able to help and I didn't help someone, I won't feel happy.
I especially grabbed onto your Christian duty is to help others, to make other people happy.
Yeah.
Now that I love that. So where do you get your information and knowledge and support and ideas from, Jane?
So a lot of things at my core, if you could tell, is from my Christian values. The fact that I'm passionate about, helping people, because I believe that God has so brought me this far. That a lot of angels, I call them angels. People say they are not human beings, but I feel a lot of angels helped me along the way. So there are lots of people that have helped me in life that I didn't ask for it. I didn't pay them back. I didn't lobby for it. They just helped me out of the blues. So I'll say, for me, the core values are the Christian values. But of course, I read a lot. And from reading, I get experience from people that I would have never met in my life. Sometimes I talk about them, you think I know them. I was talking to someone about John Maxwell the other day, Stephen Covey and all that. I don't know those people. I don't know Malcolm Gladwell. Like, physically, I don't know them. But I've read almost all their books. And, that for me is important because you can learn from great minds by reading. I listen a lot to podcasts. TED Talks used to be my number one. Like, when people say they're resting, you like lie down and sleep. When I'm resting, I'm listening to a TED Talk. That's my definition of rest, because I feel, oh, it's interesting. I'm learning something new, I'm really getting something knowledgeable. So that's how I actually acquire knowledge. And sometimes it's from places that, you least expect. I remember one, especially if you read my articles, you'll be shocked the places I learned. One of my articles I learned because I went to Japan and I was in the pond and I saw the way a turtle was being treated. And that became a whole article on its own. You could get those aha moments from things you least expect. I remember there was a time I was going through a tough time. What kept me going was my tennis coach. He didn't even know. There's some things he used to tell me to do while I was learning how to play tennis. I was using those techniques and applying them to my job. And that's how I was mentally getting myself through the job. So you know what we said about paying attention? Sometimes you have to pay attention. You get knowledge, you learn things from places you least expect. Yesterday, I was telling someone about something I learned from my daughter. She was shocked. Normally you expect that the mothers are the ones teaching their kids. But sometimes, you can learn from younger people. So don't be closed-minded. You could learn from anywhere. Just pay attention. Be more present when you're somewhere.
Don't be closed-minded. Pay attention. It's true. You are very active on social media, though, even with your kids. How does that conflict or affect your motherhood role?
I'm very, very active on social media. So
Because
that's how
a lot of
I took.
parents, especially career people, don't tend to put their kids up much on social media in the name of protecting the child's privacy and all of that. Or like my brother has a child and we are not allowed to put the baby's picture anywhere because the baby hasn't given us the consent to post her photograph. So please, how have you please asked your kids their permission when you are putting their picture on social media? How do they feel about it? And how are you managing that?
So first of all, of course, I'm in the tech sector. So I think what I always tell people, because I also get, being a mom, I get all this mom that's like, I don't post my kids' picture, my kids cannot use social media. People go, I don't even use social media. It's so this, it's so that. And I tell people that, first of all, you have to ask yourself, what are you trying to achieve with social media? What's your why? It's like in a kitchen, you have all these utensils in the kitchen, but you also have a knife. Now, in my hands, that knife becomes a tool for chopping onions, peeling yam, peeling tomatoes, cutting tilapia fish. But if a burglar comes into the house or some bad guy, he probably is going to use that knife for something different. So I tell people, when you come to social media, you have to define what role do you want to play. You can decide all I want to do is consume. I just want to check out people, check out things, learn stuff. I don't want to comment. I don't want to engage. I don't want to share. But you can decide, no, I want to share. I have some good stuff I would like to share. I want to share with people. So I think if you define that, you don't get too carried away and you don't get scared, because I think a lot of those things, it boils down to fear. You know, you're afraid that you can expose your children to wrong things. And you're right, you know, you're really right. But how about if you're using it as a platform to also teach them? I want my kids to know me for who I am. I don't want to know a mother that is different from the mother they know. I want them to see their mother through and through. And one way I think you can see me for who I am is to let them know how I use tools. Because what I know is that kids learn a lot from what you do, not just what you say. If they see the way I use that tool, they're likely going to use that tool that way. If they see that, oh, this is what mom does, this is what she checks, she doesn't do this. And I tell people, I said, because think about it, Instagram would only keep showing you what you keep checking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an algorithm. If you check a certain kind of content, it shows you more. Now, if I only check a certain kind of content, it means even though my kids pick up my phone mistakenly, that's the kind of content they will see. But if I'm sure that I'm doing something I don't want them to see, then it becomes a problem. Now, I'm not saying that sometimes you won't have bad days where people are, exposed to the wrong things, but I think it's a teachable moment, because I see it like the issue of sex. Sometimes we're too scared to teach our kids about sex. Then you find out at 18, your daughter is pregnant. How do you handle that? So I want to be rather the one to have that tough discussion with you than to have it with somebody that we don't know. We don't know how, we can't control the message they teach you. So I rather want to be the one to talk to you first about sex, then you go and learn it from the internet or somewhere. So the same thing with social media. I rather want to be the one to teach you how to use it first than to get somebody else to teach you. Because I know that kids tend to respect what their parents say. And especially in the early days, they see you as their model. So they will tend to do whatever you say. So let me teach you how to use that tool in a safe way, because I'm trusting that because I've taught you, you will do the same. So that's my mindset when it comes to that, because I know that I won't abuse it. And that's why even for groups and all that, I tell people, if I belong to a WhatsApp group, you're posting things that I know that I'm not proud to show my kids, I leave the group, because I don't want my kids seeing my phone and beginning to wonder, and they start to wonder, what is mom doing with this kind of content? So those things become important.
I like that. You know what? Talking about people's posting their kids' picture on social media. This is just by the way. Do you know what gets under my skin? When you see a mother carrying her baby on social media, and then they put a smiley covering the baby's face. Thinking, why did you even need to post that picture?
You shouldn't have, actually. You don't
Exactly.
need.
Like, who is holding a gun to your head to post that picture? And you feel the need to put a yellow smiley covering the baby's face. Did you really need to
Yeah.
post a picture? You could have just posted a picture of you alone.
Of yourself alone.
So I'm thinking, okay, so you want us to know you have a child. You want us to know you've taken a picture with your child, but guess what? You can't see my child. I find it so crazy. Or they post a picture of the baby alone, and then they have this thing covering the baby's face. What is the meaning of that? Now, even
You
if I
shouldn't
was a
have even
baby, I'll
bothered.
feel insulted. I'll be like, "Yo, mom, what are you doing? Why? Why do they do that? I don't
But
get it."
sometimes I think also is, human nature, when you're afraid of something, there are two things you can do. Either you're trying to learn more or you shy away. So in my mind, this is me thinking, I'm thinking maybe when TV and radios were introduced, maybe that's how people felt as well. They were too afraid because it felt too intrusive. You're seeing somebody there with all their weaknesses or flaws or whatever. It was just too in your face. They felt the information was too much. And that's why people were like, no, don't watch TV all the time. Only watch TV. It's not educative. It's not this, it's not that. Now we know better, especially radio and TV. We know that, oh, these things can be educative. It's the kind of content you
Yes.
put on them. But so back to the era of social media, especially if you're not a disciplined person, you're like, oh, social media, all you do is watch social media all the day. You will not be able to do anything. If you can control, it's just like telling me that because you see food, you eat the whole day. Do you eat the whole day? You just eat and you say, okay, I'm done with lunch and I move on. You know, if you have that discipline, you would apply it. Why would you spend the whole day on your phone? Don't you have to go to work, make money, take the other things in your life, isn't it? So if you can trust yourself, so that's why it's important that yourself first. Can you trust yourself with the tool? What do you need to do to help yourself manage that too? Because if not, then we will not have any knives in the house now. We will just hide all the knives because we are afraid that because there's a knife in the house, you might stab yourself. So I see it as a tool.
I like that. Let me see. Somebody made a Gigi made a comment. I would like to read that. And then I'm listening in from Los Angeles. You guys are so inspiring. I feel great starting my morning to this positivity. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you too. Thank you too.
So what does your family think of your active participation supporting one gender, the women? Because you have a son as well. And
Exactly.
also you have a son, you are married to a guy, and then you have one daughter. And because of your daughter, you've even gotten a book written because inspired by your daughter. You are empowering women. Now, how does your son feel about this, Mom?
So I think if you ask me, so my desire to empower women as a support woman is after from an experience. So most times the things we do out of our experience, and I'd say that's why you get a calling or a purpose. Something that you think is a problem and you're so passionate about solving it becomes a burden that you start beginning, you start focusing on solving it. So that's how it is with the women. Because I was in a career where you were always the woman alone in the room. And you start to ask yourself, there can be other women in this room. There is nothing stopping them, especially when you start to see some things that are not right. And you're like, no way, these things are not right. We have to speak up, Why should we interview a young lady? Compared to everybody we interviewed, she was the best. But just because she mentioned to us that she was engaged and she was thinking of getting married, we are now afraid to recruit her because we're thinking, oh, she's going to get married. Then she'll be pregnant. She'll go on maternity. No. Let's don't take her anymore. Why? It
I'm
has
guilty of
nothing
that.
to do with the
Sorry,
job.
but I'm guilty of that. I am guilty of that. Sorry,
I know you
sorry,
still
but
mean that.
yes, because
In your circumstance, if I might deviate, in your circumstance, it might be understandable, For the role we were recruiting that lady for, it had nothing to do with maternity, to be very frank. Because especially when it's a small organization, you don't have replacements, you can't go on maternity. This was somebody we were recruiting her for a skill set that wasn't common. It's not something we can go out there and get. But she just told us she was thinking of, getting married. She hasn't even told us she's planning to have a baby or she was going to have a baby. So I think it's so unfair. For the benefit of that, how about if she's one of these women that gets married and doesn't have a baby for 9, 10 years. You understand? And it would be so unfair to just plan her life that way. Because I felt we have to realize that, look at it, most women get into the career during that child rearing age. Most times in their 20s, that's when they start getting a job. Now, if you tell them to hold it off till they are now at the top, it might be when they're in their 40s. Can they have kids? No. And if they're married, in a marriage, they're the only ones that can have kids. The man can't. If the man could, they could have taken turns. Okay, you get pregnant now. Give me another 5 years, then I'll get pregnant. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. So I think it's for us as bigger companies, we can understand and accommodate it, but we shouldn't make it tougher for the women, because at the end of the day, if we don't do that, there will be no women in the office, which was what we were having. We had little or no women in the office because after a while, the women just feel they can't do this any longer. You keep pressurizing them and they start feeling guilty. Because when they tell you, I want to go for immunization, you'll be like, again? You went for immunization last month. She doesn't have control over the immunizations. And I know it's tough, for especially smaller SMEs, because you start to ask yourself, if we keep giving her those days off, how do we cope? But I think big organizations can manage it better. Small organizations, it might cost you more, because if you have a staff that's clocking out like that, especially those child rearing years, there are days that you would lose out. But I think we should see it from a bigger perspective. That's my own. See it from the human race perspective. She doesn't really have much choice, especially if she's married. Because left to some women, let me be frank, they don't mind passing the pregnancy to the man. If there was a way that we could choose, you're like, okay, let the man be the one to get pregnant so that you can focus on the career. I'm sure the woman would love to do that. But she doesn't have that option. So yes, I think they have come to see the reason, because I do explain it even to my son. Because I tell him, and what I tell him is that I'm doing this so that tomorrow, when you're going to get married, tomorrow when you're going to date a girl, when you're going to fall in love with her, please understand that you have to treat her in a certain way. She's not lower than you. She's not less smart, less intelligent. She's not weaker. She's physically different, doesn't have the same physical strength as you, but it doesn't take away her intellectual capacity. So don't treat her like she's any lower than you. I have a power situation here, but don't worry, the power will
Yeah,
soon be back.
oh, that's Nigeria. Hey, I better keep quiet before Ghana mind goes up as well. I like that, and I like the fact that you are grooming your son to understand the challenges of being a woman. So he already is growing up with a different outlook, a different perspective, and so he might be that big boss that will give women more chances. So I actually,
And even give his, or be more understanding of his wife. So he
yeah,
will, what I want to see him is that guy that dates this wonderful smart lady he met in college, that gets this wonderful opportunity to do what she loves, and he allows her to do it. He doesn't tell her, oh, you're the woman of the house now, I think you should slow down on this career thing, or you should slow down on this your passion. Maybe I should be the one to chase mine. And maybe you should rather slow down and be the housewife, especially if she doesn't want to do that. If she wants to do that, then you respect her choice. But if that's not what she wants, then I think you shouldn't force her to do that. I think she would respect you the more, and she will love you better if you allow her be herself. Then she'll go the extra. She'll go the
yeah,
extra for you.
true.
And
I
that's
hope
what I
that
want to see
I hope the guys on
from him.
here have taken note of that to support their
That
women.
is, I've heard it time and time again. Initially I used to think, oh, maybe men don't get it. But I was so happy. I was in a session with a man, and they were asking him, what makes his marriage work. And he said the best thing that had happened to me, that I allow my wife to be who she is. I'm not trying to force her to be something else. I respect her and if men can love to do, the woman will love you. For me, I don't think she would fight it. The problem is when you're trying to change them or put them into a mold that is not them, because that's your perception of who you think they should be. That becomes a challenge. That's when she starts to resent you.
Pastor Kenny says, truth be told, women deserve equal opportunities, and when given the chance, they do very well. I stand with them having equal opportunities, and we supporting them. True.
Thank you so much, Pastor Kenny.
Now let's see, because we've already gone an hour, 5 minutes.
Oh.
Well, actually, an hour, 6 minutes.
And
So now
it feels like 20
on our
minutes.
topic. With you, Jane, I knew we would go overboard. I knew it. So now let's sit directly on our topic for today. How do you define? So the topic today was the impact of having a complete package as a woman. And I know people will be thinking, okay, that was our topic, and look how what we've spoken about and why are we now hitting our topic. I wanted people to understand who Jane was. I wanted people to understand what Jane does. And so when Jane is talking about being a complete woman, people can appreciate that, okay, this is an engineer in a male dominated world. She's a mother of 2 kids, a boy and a girl, so balancing raising both genders. She runs a charity that mentors women to do more. And she's written a book. So now this one, and also very active, playing tennis, biking, exercise.
Dancing salsa.
I don't even know how you find the time to do all these things, Jane. But I know Jane probably doesn't cook. Jane probably doesn't do the laundry. That's why she has time to do all these other things. Jane winning her daughter's heart back, and all of this. So I really wanted people to actually get to experience all the different aspects of Jane. So now we know Jane the book writer, we know Jane the mummy, we know Jane the humanitarian, we know Jane the high tech professional. Now Jane is telling us that a lot of people, in the conversation we had behind closed doors, a lot of people think that when they miss certain elements of all that Jane is, they are not a complete woman. So Jane, tell us, what is a complete woman?
So I'm going to start a complete woman with a verse that I'm sure most of us would have heard it, those of us that are Christian. You know, in the Bible it says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you true and true. And my belief is that every human being on earth, there is a reason God sent you. There's a reason you came. There's something you bring to the table. There's something you are meant to do. You can call it your purpose, your calling, you know, your big thing about life, your big message. What will be unfair, even to the Creator himself, is that you came and you never leave that purpose. You never lived up to that calling. You never did what was expected of you. And for me, that is what makes you complete. So your completeness is different from some other person's own. What is important is find your own. Why did you show up on this planet? Why do you think you were sent? Because what will make you complete? Maybe I was meant to be the stay-at-home mom because I'm meant to raise that child in a certain way that for generations and generations, is meant to go ahead and do something based on the core values that we imbibe. And maybe you are meant to be this amazing entrepreneur that is going to create a whole new industry and sector that is going to go on and change the way a particular sector does business. Now, once you don't do that, once you show up and you're too afraid, too scared, carried away by what people say, trying to fit into the mold, that's when you're unfair. Because you didn't do any of us any good at the end. So whatever it is, that is what you should try and find out. Figure that out. And you will notice that those are the things that will give you fulfillment. They'll make you happy. I'm not saying they'll be easy, because sometimes we think that it means it to be easy. No, that's not what I'm saying. It doesn't mean it to be easy. It doesn't mean it will come so readily. But what it means is that it will give you fulfillment each time you achieve them. It must have been tough, crazy, difficult, but you just find that you're kind of happy, you're fulfilled. It's one of those things that people don't even beg you to do it. People don't even have to, scream or shout. But what I want you to be aware is that it won't come easy. Think about what we talk about engineering. Today I'm talking about being an engineer. But I told you already that I already checked out once because people told me that it's not for people that look like me. And at that time, I bought into what they said. And I said, yes, it's not for people that look like me. Wouldn't it be unfair for all the people today, the amazing last month, I was speaking to a young girl. She's going to Stanford to do an MBA. And I told her, I said, you're representing the whole of Africa. That's what I want you to think about when you get there. So don't leave any stone unturned. Shine as bright as you can, so that when your name is mentioned, we will all be proud. So those are some of the amazing opportunities I wouldn't have had if I didn't do it. And it would have been unfair to all the people that would have come behind me. Today, each time I do a role, when I leave the role, thousands of women want to apply for the role. Most times when I'm applying for the role, they tell me, oh, women don't do this role. A woman has never done this role. Are you sure you will do it? Are you sure you can do it? Are you sure you want to do it? But the moment I do it, everybody now thinks, if she's doing it, man, I want to do it. How can I do it? Tell me. I want to apply. And I love that fact. I love the fact that you challenge the status quo and let people know that it's yours to take. If I can do it, you can do it. It's not difficult. Don't let anybody sell you something that is not true. So I think for me, that's what it is to be complete. Go and spend time finding, even Chadwick was talking about your purpose. Find out what it is. But that's what will make you complete. Don't buy other people's completeness. Stick to yours. Yes, it might not look attractive to you in initially. You know how it is. Maybe that other person is famous or well-known. And this thing you're doing, nobody knows you apart from maybe you and your immediate friends. But that's not what is more important. It's the impact. Even though it's one person that you helped, you don't know where that one person will take you to. You know, these days when I go and talk, I always mention a guy's name. And each time he tells me to stop mentioning his name. I keep mentioning his name because he gave me my first job. He didn't even know me. I was walking around the streets of Lagos looking for a job, hunting like crazy. Nobody would take me. This young girl with her CV. I didn't know anybody. There's a company I was told that, oh, that company, they do engineering, but they pay quite well. I kept going there, until the receptionist got tired of me and told me, this young lady, you keep coming here. I'm now tired of you. What I'm going to tell you is that when you come, you're going to go today. Or when you come on Monday, pretend you don't know me. Just walk up to me and tell me, I'm here to see Mr. Susan, so I have an appointment. I'll call him for you. You can tell him whatever you want to tell him. He's the right person to talk to. But if he should ask you, don't mention my name. You know, I didn't really believe her, but I tried it. On Monday, I showed up, walked up to her, did the same thing. Hey, I'm here to see Mr. Susan. She called him, he came down. And I said, oh, my name is this. I'm here. I'm looking for a job, blah, blah. The guy kept staring and wondering. He kept asking me, who introduced you? Who sent you? How did you know? All these 1,000 questions, but I kept telling him how I want to work for this company. I am good. This is what I'm doing. I am motivated. I am passionate. On and on and on. Do you know, at the end of the day, he got that job for me. And I'm so grateful. And, you know, maybe to him, it wasn't a big thing. It was like just one young graduate that came. The job was there anyway. I just pointed her to the job and told her, go and interview. And she passed it. We took her. But that was me working for months all over Lagos. Nobody was even listening to me. And that little act he did turned the course of not just me,
not to
my
cut
family.
short, but I would give credit to the secretary, not the guy. Because
You're
she
right, though.
gave you
I have to, you're right.
It wasn't the guy. It was the secretary.
You're right.
Because she
that one I would agree. I would agree. I take you up on that one. I do agree. She did an amazing thing. Yes, because she actually did something that was courageous. How about if I had told the guy that she was the one that introduced me? How about if I had made her, because she could have put her job on the line, you know, maybe that was not the protocol. You're not meant to just bring, you know, visitors that don't have an appointment into the company. Yeah. But she took a chance on me. So you're right. I am grateful to her, you know.
So yeah, now so you said it. Your destiny helper.
I'll take a good note.
So go and look for her because she started
you know, I actually tried to look for her. I'm going to try again. I tried to look for her. She had left the company, but I think I can make some more effort. So you're right. And for me, if she's listening, oh my God, I have to look for her.
You should.
She has also changed my world, you know.
Yes.
So in case she's thinking, oh, I'm just a receptionist, it doesn't mean anything. I'm just a receptionist. It means a lot. She today was one of the reasons my path is where it is today. Exactly. And I'm grateful. And for me, even though you're a receptionist and that is what you love doing, please give it the best. Treat people nicely. You are touching people, even using that platform. And that's what more, and, you know, you're right. You know, now I'm thinking about it. You can imagine if I go back and go and tell her thank you. I'm sure she'll be shocked. Because I haven't done that, you know. I haven't done that. I keep saying to that guy, I need to go look for that lady and tell her thank you. So she realizes what an amazing thing she did. Which probably to her looks a little, you know.
She's done something. I mean, and you know what? That her decision, we are all benefiting from it now today. Because from that job, look at where you are today. So she gave you that break, and now we are all beneficiaries.
All benefiting from it.
That action that she took. So I think we need to find this woman, and you need to say.
And I need to, because I need to make her know that just her job was more than just sitting at that company reception and attending to visitor. Her job was opening doors for people so that they can have a future they desire. And she did that for me. Even though when she was doing it, it didn't look like a big thing. But it did. It is. It's the big thing.
Yeah.
It is.
When you find it, can you let us know? Can you send us a picture?
Oh, I will. I will. I've got some ideas now talking to you. And thank you so much for pointing that out. You know, I've never, even though it was my story, I've never seen it that way. You just brought my attention to that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's why I'm here. That's why they're crazy, I think.
Yes.
You know, but for the past few weeks, actually, from the beginning of this season, yeah, Renee said we need to see that selfie definitely, and I'll post it on my page. So I realized that this season of Impact is like every single episode touches on people finding their purpose, people living their purpose-driven life, and it's like it's episode it is mentioned. So last week I said in last week's interview with Crystal, I said, you know what, I need to make that a topic. Find the impact of finding your purpose,
Find
because
your
like
purpose.
everybody is talking about finding your purpose, finding your purpose. So next week we have somebody coming on, an evangelist,
Excellent.
all the way from Maryland, and she's going to talk about the impact of finding your purpose, because it's like God keeps saying, look, you need to let these people talk about finding their purpose. It's been from episode 1 of season 2. So next week we are really
Wow.
about the impact of finding your purpose, because
Purpose.
a lot of people miss the journey, miss the right route, because they just didn't know their purpose. So
They did it, and sometimes I feel it's just because you are competing with other people, or you're comparing to other people. So you're using them as your measure. You know, you see somebody doing something in a certain way, you're thinking, oh, how I wish, and you want to do that. But you haven't asked yourself, is that really what you are meant to be doing? You know, because I think the way I see it, that what God is interested in is what He wants you to be doing. If you do what somebody else has been doing, you can do it, and after you're done with it, He's like, no, that's not what I wanted you to do. So I think what's more important, you do what it is you were sent to this planet to do.
what is God interested?
And that's where you create impact.
So what would you say is the impact of being a complete woman on your own life?
I think for me, you find fulfillment. You know, sometimes I think you don't find fulfillment because you're not doing things that are meant to be true to you. Everybody, because I feel like when God made you, He put that little key. Once you can turn that key in the right direction, everything aligns. Now, the problem is if you ignore the key and you go search for other people's key. Now, other people's key cannot align for you perfect. You know, keys have their own little, grade or itching. So if you take the wrong key and put it on the doorknob, it wouldn't open, So why it's so important is that if you put the right key, everything aligns. That's fulfillment. Sometimes things we talk about, depression, sadness, guilt, if you're doing something you're fulfilled in, the chances are you won't be depressed. The chances are less that you'll be either jealous or you'll be competing with others, or, you even feel guilty because you're happy with what you're doing. You're content with what you're doing. You don't feel like it has to be somebody else's own. You even collaborate with them and you join them and support them. You don't need to compete with them. You don't need to be like them, because what you're doing for you is important. It might not, in somebody else's eye look small or it's different, but to you is important. And that for me is the bigger word, fulfillment. If nothing more, that's what COVID has showed us, that what's more important is that you are fulfilled. If you're fulfilled, you keep going on the journey. If you're not fulfilled, you start looking for other things to create that fulfillment. Alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever it is, you're looking and looking and looking for. And the hole keeps getting bigger and bigger. And you still feel the void. So I'll say, if there's anything you can think of, just get to that zone where you can have that key align. And that key align when you say, aha, this is what I should be doing. And this is important because this is all the value you can create for others. And it's okay if other people are doing something different. Yours is important. And somehow when you focus on it, you don't have any time to be jealous. You don't have any time to compete with people necessarily. You either be even seeking ways to collaborate with them, join forces, and let's make the table bigger. Let's create a bigger impact.
Rosemary Abra says, I don't think comparing is healthy. Rather, we should learn and can take inspiration from others, which is very true. So it all boils down to fulfillment. And finally, the impact of being a complete woman. I know once you are fulfilled, it affects you as a person, it enhances you as a person, and people immediately to you. But would you encourage let me put it, what phrase would you use to encourage women to try and find our fulfillment to be complete rather than thinking that we need to achieve something in particular to feel complete?
So I don't know if it's a phrase, but what I've realized from my own experience is that if you spend that time with yourself, sometimes people say date yourself. Because I personally believe in self-leadership or personal leadership, which means lead yourself. Find more, invest in yourself, figure out your strengths, your weaknesses, so that you can understand your opportunities and where your threats lie. Figure out what your vision, your mission, really invest in yourself. And it could mean by, training, mentoring, reading, but really find time to date yourself. That's when a guy is dating a lady. The idea is that he's trying to figure out, how does she manage money? How does she like this? How does she like that? Is she good at can we just date ourselves and spend more time figuring out for ourselves who we are? And once we can do that, I don't think we then need, even this whole idea of, oh, if you don't marry, then you're not complete. Then you realize that that's not true. Jesus himself didn't even marry. Now, I'm not saying that marriage is bad. I'm married. But I'm saying that if you don't find that, you find that if you get married, this hole will still be there. The marriage itself will not fulfill that. Honeymoon is over. You start figuring out what next. And that becomes another whole bigger problem, because now you've involved somebody else in the problem. It's just not just you now. You now have you, some guy, and before we know it, maybe you, the guy, the kids. Everybody in this little hole you've created that keeps getting bigger. So I would say, why don't you spend more time dating yourself? I don't know if dating is the right word, but really spend time with yourself to figure out yourself. One way you figure out yourself is to spend time learning about yourself. One way you learn is to acquire knowledge, mentoring, coaching, reading, getting to meet people that are more experienced, people that will inspire you, people that will challenge you. But look for friends that will support you, because friends for me are like mirror. Sometimes you don't really see yourself, they see you. They'll say, Debbie, but that's not you. Now, what are you trying to do? Is it because somebody mentioned that this is now the reigning thing, you want to do it? That's not you. And I tell people, when people tell me, oh, but I don't know what are my strengths, I say, go and ask your friends, people that are close to you. Just ask them, what are those things you think I do? And I do them so effortlessly, so easy. It comes so natural. Like, they will tell you. Because if you're not paying attention, at least they were paying attention, they will tell you. So once you can really spend that time doing that, even when it's time to get a partner, it's easier because you know who you are. Then you probably know what kind of partner you should be going for. If you don't know who you are, then how are you going to know the partner? Like, for example, if I know that I'm not good with money at all, so if I get a partner that is not good with money, I start telling him, I'm not good with money, you're not good with money. That's not a good thing. We need a solution. We can't have two people that are not good with money trying to run a home. We need to solve it. That awareness is so powerful. It's better than getting into it blind and hoping that we'll figure it. You're not getting into it, I'm like, I don't know. And I say that a lot because for women, we hide a lot under that cloak of marriage and try to be mentally lazy. I'm not trying to be too harsh, but I see it a lot. Because you ask them, so what do you really want? Oh, no, I just want to get married. No. Take away the marriage. What do you really want? don't know. By God's grace, if I get a good man that can, I'm like, no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm like asking you. Don't try and absorb and put somebody in this picture right now. Just you alone. What's your biggest desire, your big dream, your wish? What would you like to do? What would you aspire? Do that, because if you don't do that, most guys already have figured that out. And that's why you see a guy, when he's dating a lady, he starts telling her, I want to do this, I want my family to be like this, I want, my house. He's already painting those pictures for you. And you don't have any. Then tomorrow you get married to him and you start telling him, no, but I didn't want this, I didn't want that. You should have let me walk. When he was telling you, you didn't say yours. That's the good time to everybody come to the table with, who are we? What are we trying to achieve? So we can align. Now, you didn't say yours, you're hoping that his own is perfect. You get into it and you're not telling him you're rejecting his own. It doesn't sound good anymore to you. What is good to you, you don't know. That's a big problem. So all we are begging, try and spend some time to find out, who are you? What do you want? What do you stand for? Why do you think you came to this planet? You don't have to have all the answers, but just have some, because as you start to desire it, you start to make effort. And as you make effort, you start to get bits and bits of the puzzle figured out. Once you can do that, it's easier on everybody. Self-awareness is so powerful. Remember when I was dating my husband?
Sorry, but Jane, this thing that you're saying, that because maybe the woman wants to get married, at the point when she meets the guy and the guy is talking about all the things he wants to do, she is not saying anything, because at that point her total focus and her biggest desire there and then is to get married. And she's thinking in her head, I just need to get this marriage one out of the way, and then we'll cross that bridge when we get. That's a lot of that is what a lot of women end up doing. Even men do that to women all the time. They will never tell you the truth. Like, okay, this, I'm going to do this. At that point, look, let me even use men who, especially men in the Western world, who probably do not have papers. And I've met this girl with a passport and all that. He's not going to tell you that, oh, yeah, I want to marry you. And in 10 years, I want to move back to my country and go and build a house in my mother's village and look after my whole clan. He's not going to tell you all that. Then he's going to marry you, and he knows you have no plans of moving back to Africa. He's not going to tell you he wants to move back to Africa. So he's going to spend 10 years of your life, forget his life, 10 years of your life. He gets this passport, and suddenly he wants to move back and live in Africa. And then you are now stuck, because I've seen this happen. You are now stuck with the kids, because now they're in secondary school, and you cannot just pack them up and take them to Africa. They are going to go to university, and that is how so many women in the Western world are stuck living their lives like single moms, because their husbands have now decided they want to move back to Africa and have left them, because the children now are her priority. And I hate is such a strong word, but I dislike men who do that, because that is when your wife needs you the most. And you see, these men are now in Africa sitting at some beer bar with a younger girl, when this woman is probably working in 2 jobs sometimes to be able to see their last child through.
Trying to train those children.
It breaks my heart. I think it's just human beings are never honest from jump. Human beings will never tell you really what they want, because at that point they are so focused on what they want to get there and then they don't think they need to tell you what the long-term plan is. Sorry, but I had to get that off my chest, because it really
No, I was listening, and I do have some stories like that too to say. And see, the thing I always tell people is that, to be very frank, that there are no guarantees. So even though I'm saying that when you're dating that guy, speak up, let him know what your aspiration, vision, whatever it is. There are no guarantees that guy doesn't have his agenda. So like we said, maybe you did speak up, but you can get into the union and this guy has an agenda, and he really focuses on his agenda. And like you said, if he gets his agenda on, you feel like, wow, I'm not like frozen for 20 years. I have to figure out how to take care of these kids. I don't have a man, in quote, because this guy is somewhere else, but I have an assumed marriage, which technically is not a marriage, because it's a marriage, but it's not a marriage, And most women, because of culture, will not want to leave. They will probably want to hang in there. and just let's be the missus. But why I think self-awareness is so powerful is that the biggest thing you can do for yourself is to be aware, because that gives you power to have this kind of truthful conversations with yourself. You can even ask yourself, why am I in this union? Why am I in this union? Is it for the kids or is it for me? Who's priority? Is it important that I be happy and be fulfilled, or is it just for the kids? It's good you learn to do that even from an early age, because I don't think it's going to get easier. Even in seemingly marriages that people think is perfect, because there's no perfect marriage. We are always asking ourselves those questions. Even when the guy loves you, even when you've had this chat with the guy, you can even marry the guy. Things are always changing in a marriage. Dynamics are always changing. And those questions always have to be asked. There'll be a time where maybe your partner is asking you to sacrifice. And you really want to understand, why am I making this sacrifice? Why am I putting my career on hold for you? Is this out of a selfish reason? Is this for a bigger goal? Am I doing it believing that if it's my turn, if I ask you to do the same, you will do the same for me? Or am I the one always on the giving side? Because what happens if one partner is always giving, they start to, after a while, they burn out. And they start to resent if I'm the one always putting something on hold for you, after a while, I start getting tired. So I'd rather you have that tool now of learning how to have these tough discussions with yourself and trying to figure out really, really at the core what is important and what you want to fight for, than to get into a marriage and you're now looking for ways to cope. And sometimes you end that people are committing suicide or doing crazy things that are not unimaginable. But if you can have that discussion, even when you're in a marriage, sometimes in my marriage, I have to have very, very tough discussions, even with my husband. They don't come easy. They're not discussions that are easy. They're discussions of, really, this is how I feel. Am I doing this so that you have this? This is what it's going to cost me. And I don't think right now I feel like paying that price, because I waited for this. I feel right now you should give me a break here. Why don't you slow down for me? And they're not very easy discussions, even though we make them look like easy. They're not. But I'd rather you are learning to do that, dating into marriage, and the guy now starts saying you have changed. When I was dating and she was so quiet, anything I told her she would just do. She just accepts it. Now we are now married. She's not too smart. Everything she's questioning me.
That reminds me of Phyllis. When I had Phyllis on the show, she recommended 3 books that she thinks we should read, and I actually bought one of them on Amazon. It's How to Hold Tough Conversations or Difficult Conversations. So I think I really need to read that, because even I suffer from that, where the conversation is too heavy. I would rather just keep quiet and hurt inside and never address it. And just today, I saw a nugget on the internet, and I was like, that hits me. Pretending something is not hurting you is not a way of dealing with that hurt.
Yeah. Because the day that you would just bust out, everybody will be shocked, because it's like pent up. It's been holding on for too long. So what I'm learning is to have that conversation early enough. Have it uncomfortable. There's some conversations you are having and you're crying because it's very uncomfortable for every party, because we're like literally asking ourselves core things like, are you saying you don't trust me? I'm saying, just give me a break here. You're not trusting that if I do this, that when is your turn, I will, that means you don't trust. It's a very difficult discussion, because people can read it anyway. So you have to, you're looking for the best way to explain it without hurting that person. Oh, sorry. And sometimes there's no easy way to have it. There's no easy way to have the discussion like, I don't want to have a baby now. Right now in my career, this is not the time I want to have a baby. And the other person is wondering, why are you the one making that call? I want us to have a baby. And it doesn't mean that they accept it, but somebody at somewhere, everybody has to come to a conclusion. So I think those tough discussions will always be there. But I rather prefer we have it, because that's how we get to know ourselves, And sometimes you win some, sometimes you don't win. but we all get to know ourselves. And I think if people can love you with the way you are, with your flaws, every way, the whole package, then they love you. They shouldn't love you only when you're nice and friendly and, you do what they want. They should love you even when you come with your crazy. Yeah.
That's my one. My friend Nina made a comment here. I think when we're talking about understanding our purpose, finding our fulfillment, a lot. She said, God created us and understands you better than you. If we connect to God in a very intimate way, He will guide you into your purpose.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree, Nina.
Jay, we've been at this for an hour for 39 minutes. So let me just go to the last question so that I can let you go.
Yes.
Final words on Complete Woman, and then I'll ask you what I asked everybody else, to share your favorite go-to quote or favorite Bible verse with us and why that. But what is your final words for we women on what would you say that the impact of having a complete package as a woman is for us, apart from fulfillment? What are your what would you want people to go away with, and every morning when they remember that they pursue their goal on who they are, on becoming a complete woman?
Women tend to be nurturers, but we like to take care of everybody, every other person. So I'll try to put it in the perspective I think we can connect to it. If you spend time discovering yourself, discovering your purpose, living that life that makes you fulfilled, you wouldn't have just helped yourself. You would have helped the community and the world at large, because you would have showed up. Because what God really wants you to do is show up. Don't be a hidden treasure. There's a reason He put the treasure in there, not for you to hide it. He wants you to show up, so that when you come to this earth or this planet and leave, people know that you actually showed up. So it's not the length of time. There's a quote I put up. It's just the breadth, the width that is more important, not the length. Because a lot of us focus on the length. How old did he live? How many years? We didn't focus on the width, the people, the impact, the people that were touched, the people that were influenced, and if they really lived what they came to this world to do. So I'll say for women, a lot of us would have spent time on other people. My prayer and my ask is that you spend time on yourself. Spend time. If you can spend time on yourself, you'll be better helping other people. You can better help them, because you would know your strengths and you will know how to use your strengths and help them, because you spent time understanding yourself.
True.
So that will be my ask for women. That will be my ask. Don't ignore yourself.
Don't ignore yourself. So many nuggets, so many really cool nuggets. Look at what you've done.
You have your own notebook. You have to send me that, your notes as well. I would love to have your notes as well.
Would you? Okay, I guess I want to type it up for you, because it's scribbled all over the place. So I'll have somebody type it in and it to you. So last question, then I'll let you go. Share with us your favorite go-to quote or your favorite Bible verse. What pumps you?
Oh, I have lots of favorite quotes, but I think there's one that really came to my mind when you were asking, and I want to read it. It's from a lady called Marianne Williamson. I think people have credited it to other people, but the belief is that she's the original owner of the quote, so I'm going to quote her.
Okay.
And the quote goes like, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." It is our light and not our darkness that most frightens us. Love is what we are born with. Fear is what we learned here. I really love that quote, because it's like a summary of a lot of things I believe in. That strength that God has put in you, sometimes that is what is the biggest fear. That is what is scaring you, doing that thing. People won't like it. People will think I'm crazy. People will think that is this. People will think that. That light is just, that's the biggest thing, not your darkness. It's that light. And all we need is the light. All God wants you to do is shine that light. Now, like the Bible says, you don't want to light it and hide it. You want to light it and literally put it on the hill. Why do you put something on a hill? You want to give it visibility. You want to give it impact so more people will benefit from the light. What's the use of having a light and hiding it under the chair? Nobody's going to benefit from the light. You can as well squash the light. Don't put on the candle. There's no use. If you have to put on the candle, put it where everybody will benefit. So I think that light is what is actually what frightens us. But we need the light. There's a reason you put the light there. So yes, that's my favorite quote. It's not the, I have lots of, but this is one of my favorite quotes.
I love it. I love it. And I especially love, don't light it and hide it. Light it so that everybody else can benefit from it.
Everyone can see it. Let's benefit from it. Don't hide it. What's the use of hiding it?
Yeah.
It's no longer a light if you hide it, You can as well, squash the candle.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
I hope
I'm admiring your hair as I'm saying thank you. The blues, the greens, You've got us with the teal.
What did I say? What did I say? Just do your crazy. Your crazy may work. You said that to me, Jane, that I should just do my
Your crazy is working, girl. You've got our attention. You've got our attention.
It's working. My crazy is working. And people should not judge my crazy.
Yeah.
Today I felt blue. Okay, please. Thank you so much, Nina. Nina is saying thank you to you, Jane.
Thank you, Nina. Thanks, Ray. Thank you, all your wonderful audience. They've been amazing. I just love them.
Gigi says, when you stop huffing is when you're living in your purpose.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. IJ says, thank you, Jane. You're full of wisdom. IJ, she sure is full of wisdom. She's the boss that I escaped, but I fell in love with.
No, we're friends now,
Yes. Yes. I did a quick escape. Abra says, Debbie, your crazy has been working for ages. I know, right? And we love you with your crazy and all. I've been crazy for since school. But it's worked. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jane. I'll let you go now, and I'll be in touch soon. I'm gonna post this, add a few nuggets, so I'll call you in about 15-20 minutes. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And by the way, special happy day shout out to Jocelyn. Happy birthday to her. Wishing her the golden year.
Yes, I'll tell her.
Okay then. Bye, guys.
I already missed 2 of her calls, so I'm sure she's wondering why I'm still on my life. I should have been down by now. So yes.
Okay then.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you, Jane. Lots of love.
Bye there.
Guys, thank you once again. Thank you so much for spending your Monday afternoon with me. And I'll be back next week, Monday, this time with Evangelist Nanaya. Well, she called is Marian. I'm used to calling her Nanaya. From Maryland. Jesus is Lord Crusade. And we're going to speak about finding your purpose. So hopefully you guys will join me next week, Monday, same time, 3 p.m. GMT. And hopefully we have another impactful experience. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Gigi. Thank you, Ibabe Ghana. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Oh my God. Auntie Adole was online. Now I'm even shy. Thank you so much, Auntie. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And I will see you next week, Monday. Have a blissful week, and whatsoever you wish to do this week, may God's hands be on it for you. And tomorrow, as we start the month of September, I wish you a happy, good September, and may September bring you many surprises. God has brought us this far. Many people started the year with us, but unfortunately has not lived to see this day. We've gone through 8 months, And may we go to the rest of the year with peace, bliss, love, and happiness. Love you all and have a wonderful afternoon. Bye.